The crystal chamber floated in the darkness of space, its walls glowing with soft blue light. Inside, thousands of alien beings set in perfect circles around a central platform. This was the Galactic Council, the most powerful organization in the known universe. Today, they had gathered to make a decision about a small blue planet called Earth. Elder Zindar stepped onto the platform. His tall gray body moved with the confidence of someone who had lived for 800 years. His large black eyes scanned the crowd as he activated the holographic display. Three-dimensional image of Earth appeared above his head, slowly rotating to show its oceans and continents. Council members, Zindar began, his voice echoing through the chamber. We have completed our study of this world. The inhabitants call it Earth. They are a primitive species that has barely learned to leave their own planet. Image changed to show human cities, their buildings reaching toward the sky. Then it showed human vehicles moving on roads, and finally primitive rockets launching into space. As you can see, Zindar continued, these creatures have developed basic technology. They can split atoms and build simple computers. However, they remain trapped on their world. Their fastest ships use chemical fuel and take months to reach their own moon. A member of the council stood up. This was Velak, commander of the Third Fleet. His species looked like giant insects with forearms and compound eyes. Elder Zindar, what threat do they pose to the council? Zindar touched control, and the display changed again. Now it showed humans fighting wars, polluting their oceans and cutting down forests. They are violent and destructive. They fight each other constantly and damage their own planet. If left alone, they will either destroy themselves or eventually develop space travel and spread their violence to other worlds. Then we follow standard protocol, said another council member. Pacification and integration on Earth. Hankim sat in front of her computer screen at the radio telescope facility. In South Korea, she had been working the night shift for 3 years, listening to signals from space. Most nights she heard nothing but the background noise of the universe. Tonight was different. Her equipment had detected something strange. The signals were too organized to be natural, but they didn't match any known human transmissions. She adjusted her equipment and listened more carefully. The patterns were complex, almost like a language. Hana grabbed her phone and called her friend Jinsu Park, who worked for the Military Space Defense Initiative. Even though it was 3:00 in the morning, Jinsu answered on the second ring. Hana, what's wrong? I'm picking up something weird, she said, her eyes still focused on her computer screen. These signals aren't from Earth, and they're definitely not natural. Are you sure? I've been doing this for years. Jinsu, this is artificial. Someone out there is talking. Meanwhile, in her laboratory across the city, Mi was having her own breakthrough. She had been working on an experimental engine design that used quantum mechanics to bend space. According to most scientists, her ideas were impossible. Tonight, her latest test had created something that shouldn't exist, a tiny hole in space itself. She stared at the readings on her instruments. The hole had lasted only a few seconds, but it had definitely been there. If she could make it bigger and more stable, it might allow travel across vast distances. Instantly, back in the council chamber, the vote was proceeding exactly as Elder Zindar had expected. One by one each member of the council voted to authorize Pacification Protocol 7. This was the standard procedure for dealing with primitive worlds. First, they would send ships to demonstrate their power. Then, they would demand surrender. Finally, they would integrate the planet into the Galactic Council as a minor member. World, the final vote was 847-0. No one voted against the invasion of Earth. Commander Velek, Elder Zindar, announced, "You will lead the third fleet to Earth. Use standard intimidation tactics. These primitives should surrender within days once they see our technology." Velek bowed his insect-like head. "It will be done." "Elder, how much resistance do you expect?" "None," Zindar replied. "Their most advanced weapons are nuclear missiles that move slower than our supply ships. Their space program consists of metal tubes filled with explosive chemicals. They cannot even leave their own solar system." The council members began to leave the chamber, already thinking about other matters. The conquest of Earth was just routine business, no different from the hundreds of other primitive worlds they had integrated over the centuries. But Hanakim was still at her telescope, and she was learning more about the signals every minute. She had managed to identify patterns that repeated. Some signals seemed to be coordinates, others looked like technical specifications. She was beginning to think these weren't just random transmissions. Someone was organizing something big. She called Jin-Soo again. "You need to get down here. I think someone is planning to visit us." "What do you mean?" "These signals include star charts and what look like ship movements. Either someone is planning a very long trip or they are already on their way." Jin-Soo knew Hana well enough to trust her judgment. "I'll be there in an hour. Don't tell anyone else about this yet." As Jin-Soo drove through the empty streets toward the telescope facility, he thought about the implications. If Hana was right, humanity was about to make first contact with an alien civilization. But something about her tone suggested this might not be a friendly visit. At the same time, 3 days' travel from Earth, Commander Veltak's fleet was already moving. The third fleet consisted of 200 ships, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. Their hulls were made of material stronger than any Earth metal, and their weapons could destroy cities from orbit. Belek reviewed the battle plan as his ships approached the solar system. First, they would position themselves around Earth to show their power. Then they would broadcast a surrender demand in the local language. The humans would see that resistance was impossible and up immediately. He expected the entire operation to be finished within a week. But as his ships entered the outer edge of the solar system, Velak's sensors detected something unexpected. The space around Earth wasn't empty. There were objects moving between the planets, too large to be natural asteroids, but too small to be planets. Scan those objects, he ordered his science officer. "Sir, they appear to be artificial structures, but according to our intelligence, this species cannot build anything in space larger than small stations." Velak looked at the data again. Either their intelligence was wrong or the humans had been hiding their true capabilities. On Earth, Hana had just made another discovery. The alien signals had stopped. The space around her planet had gone completely quiet. "They're here," she told Jin-Soo. The invasion of Earth was about to Begin. Commander Velok stared at the display screen showing Earth's solar system. His compound eyes could process multiple images at once, but what he was seeing didn't make sense. The space between Earth and its moon was filled with structures that shouldn't exist. Science Officer Craven explained these readings. Velok commanded. The smaller alien checked his instruments again. Sir, I'm detecting at least 40 large structures in Earth's orbit. They're made of metal and appear to be operational, but our intelligence report said the species could barely reach their own moon. Velok felt the first touch of doubt. In 300 years of conquest, primitive species had never surprised him. They always followed the same pattern: crude rockets, basic weapons, and complete helplessness when faced with Galactic Council technology. On Earth, Han Kim was working faster than she ever had in her life. Her radio telescope was now connected to a network of similar devices around the planet. She had contacted colleagues in 12 countries, and they were all seeing the same thing. Ships were appearing at the edge of the solar system. Ju, you need to see this, she called to her friend, who was standing behind her, watching the data scroll across her screen. Jin's Sue Park looked at the numbers. As a military strategist, he understood what they meant. How many ships? At least 200, maybe more. They're big, Jin Sue. Really big. Jin Sue pulled out his secure phone and made a call. And GT, General, this is Major Park. We have situation. I need to speak with Admiral Kang immediately. While Jin Sue made his call, Hana continued to monitor the alien fleet. The ships were moving slowly, taking positions around Earth. It looked like they were surrounding the planet. But Hana noticed something else. The ships were following predictable paths, as if they were following some kind of standard procedure. She began to record everything, looking for patterns. 20 minutes later, Jin Sue returned. Admiral is on his way. He's bringing some people you need to meet. What kind of people? The kind who have been expecting this day for a long time. Across the city, Millie was still in her laboratory, unaware of what was happening in space above her. She had spent the entire night working on her quantum engine, trying to understand what had happened during her test. The brief hole in space had given her new ideas about how reality worked. She was so focused on her calculations that she almost missed the emergency broadcast that appeared on every screen in the building. The government was asking all scientists to report to emergency stations, something about a national security situation. Mi grabbed her research notes and headed for the door. As she drove toward the government facility, she wondered if her quantum experiment had somehow caused a problem. But when she arrived, she found scientists from every field being brought together. Admiral Kang was a small, quiet man who had spent 40 years in the space program. When Hana met him, she was surprised by how calm he seemed. Miss Kim, he said, show me what you found. Hana displayed her data on the main screen. 212 ships, all positioning themselves around Earth. They're using formation patterns that suggest military organization. Admiral King nodded. They're following Pacification Protocol 7. How do you know that? The Admiral looked at Jin Soo, who nodded. Ms. Kim, what I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest level. We've known about the Galactic Council for 30 years. Hana felt her world shift. What? In 1995, we intercepted our first alien transmission. Since then we've been monitoring their communications and learning their languages. We know about their government, their military, and their standard procedures for dealing with primitive worlds. Mealy arrived at the facility just as Admiral Kang was explaining the situation to Anna when she heard about alien ships surrounding Earth. Her first thought was about her quantum engine experiment. Admiral, she interrupted, I think I might have something that can help. Everyone turned to look at the young physicist. Admiral Kang had heard about her work but hadn't expected to meet her today. What do you have, Dr. Lee? I've been working on quantum space manipulation. Last night I created a stable micro wormhole. If I can scale up the technology, we might be able to do things these aliens don't expect above Earth. Commander Velak was preparing to begin standard intimidation procedures. His fleet was in position, and his communications officer was ready to broadcast the surrender demand. Begin transmission. Velak ordered. The message went out in what the aliens believed was Earth's primary language. It was a simple demand: surrender immediately or face destruction. The transmission included visual displays of the alien fleet weapons to show Earth's helplessness, but instead of panic or immediate surrender, something unexpected happened. Hana Kim's radio telescope network picked up the alien transmission and began analyzing it. Immediately, within minutes, she had identified the language structure. It was similar to other alien communications she had been studying for hours. More surprising to the aliens, Earth responded. The response came not from governments or military leaders, but from a radio telescope facility in South Korea. The message was transmitted in perfect galactic standard, the language used by the Council for official communications. Greetings to the Galactic Council fleet. The message began. This is Dr. Hana Kim speaking for Earth. We have been monitoring your approach for the past 18 hours. We have also been studying your communications protocols. For several years, we are aware of Pacification Protocol 7 and your intentions regarding our planet on the command ship. Velak's communication officer stared at his equipment. Sir, this is impossible. They're using perfect galactic standard. Our intelligence said they didn't know we existed. The Earth transmission continued. We understand that you believe Earth to be a primitive world, suitable for integration into your council. We respectfully disagree with this assessment. We suggest a different approach. Velak felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: confusion. Primitive worlds didn't respond to intimidation with diplomatic messages in perfect galactic standard. How long have they been monitoring our communications? He asked his intelligence officer. Unknown, sir. According to our data, they should not have been capable of detecting our transmissions at all. Hankim continued our transmission. We propose a meeting to discuss the terms of contact between our species. We have representatives prepared to negotiate. However, we should inform you that Earth is not as defenseless as your intelligence suggests. As if to prove this point, something appeared on Velak's sensors that made him step backward. Objects were materializing around his fleet. Ships were uncloaking themselves. Ships that had been invisible until this moment. Defense systems to full alert. Velak ordered. How many ships? And GT 50. No, 70, sir. They're still appearing over 100 ships. Now the Earth vessels were smaller than they Council ships, but they were clearly advanced technology. They had appeared from nowhere, suggesting cloaking systems that the Council hadn't detected. Jinsu Park was now at the main command center, coordinating Earth's response. The ships surrounding the alien fleet were part of a defense system that had been built in secret over decades. Mining operations in the asteroid belt had been covered for military construction. Admiral Jin Su reported, all defense platforms are active. The quantum drive ships are in position. Admiral Kang looked at Minji Lee. Doctor, are your engines ready for testing? Mi checked her portable control system. The prototype is installed on the lead ship. I can't guarantee it will work, but the theory is sound. Hanakim sent another message to the alien fleet. Commander Velak, we know your name and your service record. We know about your victories on 37 other worlds. We also know that those worlds were truly primitive when you arrived. Earth is different in space above Earth. Velak realized that everything he had been told about this species was wrong. They had been watching the Council, learning their language and preparing for this exact moment. For the first time in his long military career, Commander Velak was facing an enemy that had been preparing for him. The invasion of Earth was not going according to plan. Commander Velak had conquered 37 worlds. He had faced desperate enemies, advanced weapons, and impossible odds. But he had never faced an enemy that knew everything about him while he knew nothing about them. Sir, his tactical officer reported, the Earth ships are maintaining distance, but they have us completely surrounded. Their formations suggest they've studied our standard battle tactics. Balak looked at the display showing both fleets. The human ships were positioned exactly where they would be most effective against Council formations. It was as if they had read the Galactic Military Academy textbooks. Open a communication channel, he ordered. On Earth, Admiral Kang stood in the command center, watching the situation develop. Decades of preparation were finally being put to the test. Next to him, Jinsu Park was coordinating the movements of ships that the aliens still thought were primitive mining vessels. The alien commander wants to talk. Hanakim reported from her communication station. Put him through. Admiral Kang said. The image of Commander Velak appeared on the main screen. His insect-like features looked angry and confused. I am Commander Velak of the Galactic Council 3rd Fleet, he began. You will surrender immediately and prepare for integration. Your resistance is pointless. Admiral Kang stepped forward. Commander, I am Admiral Kang of Earth Defense. Your invasion is based on outdated intelligence. We suggest you reconsider your approach. Impossible. Our information is accurate. You are a primitive species with basic chemical rockets and nuclear weapons. Jinsu Park smiled. Would you like us to demonstrate why your information is wrong? Without waiting for an answer, Jinsu activated a control panel. In space, what the aliens thought were mining stations began to transform. Massive gun barrels extended from structures that had appeared to be simple asteroid processing facilities. Energy signatures spiked as weapons that were larger than most Council ships powered up. Your mining operations were cover for military installations, Velak said, beginning to understand. For 30 Years, Admiral Kang confirmed, we've been building a defense network throughout the solar system. What you see as mining ships are actually mobile weapons platforms. Li was at her own control station, monitoring the quantum engines she had installed on the lead human ships. Admiral, the quantum drives are ready for combat testing. Show them what they're really facing. Dr. Mi activated her experimental technology. 3 human ships simply vanished from the alien sensors, only to reappear inside the alien formation. The ships had moved through folded space, traveling instantly across distances that should have taken minutes. On Velek's command ship, alarms began ringing. Sir, 3 enemy ships have appeared within our defensive perimeter. They bypassed our shields completely. Velek stared at the tactical display. In 300 years of space combat, he had never seen ships teleport. The technology required was far beyond what any council member possessed. How did they do that? His science officer was frantically checking his instruments. Unknown, sir. The energy patterns don't match any known propulsion system. It's as if they folded space itself. Hana Kim sent another transmission to the alien fleet. Commander, the 3 ships inside your formation are equipped with gravitational weapons. Each one can create a small black hole. We suggest you consider our diplomatic offer. The threat was not empty. Each of the 3 human ships was powered by Mi's quantum technology and armed with weapons that manipulated gravity itself. They could literally tear apart the alien ships from the inside. But Admiral Kang had no intention of starting a war. He was demonstrating Earth's capabilities to force negotiations, not to destroy the alien fleet. We don't want to fight, Admiral Kang told Commander Velek, but we won't be conquered either. Earth proposes a third option. Belthak was beginning to realize that his standard invasion tactics were useless. The humans had superior technology, better intelligence, and they knew his every move before he made it. What do you propose? A meeting. Your ships remain where they are. Our ships do the same. We send representatives to neutral ground and discuss terms. Jinsu Park added, Commander, we know about the 43 other worlds you've conquered. Using Pacification Protocol 7, we've studied the after-action reports from each battle. We know your ship capabilities, your standard formations, and your preferred tactics. This doesn't have to become a fight you cannot win. The insult was perfectly delivered. Velek was a proud military officer, but he was not stupid. His fleet was surrounded by enemies who knew his every weakness while he knew none of theirs. But there was still his pride as a council officer to consider. The Galactic Council does not negotiate with primitive species. Li chose that moment to demonstrate another capability. She activated a quantum field around one of the alien ships. Ship didn't disappear or explode. Instead, it simply stopped existing in normal space. It was still there, but it existed in a different dimension where the alien crew could see everything but touch nothing. Your ship will be returned to normal space in 60 seconds, Mi announced. Consider this a demonstration of our dimensional manipulation technology. On the affected alien ship, the crew watched in horror as their weapons passed through enemy ships without effect. They could see their own fleet, but they could not communicate with it or fire their weapons. They were trapped in a bubble between dimensions. Exactly 60 seconds later, the ship returned to normal space, completely unharmed but thoroughly frightened. How many more demonstrations would you like, Commander? Admiral Kang asked politely. Beltac was no longer thinking about conquest, he was thinking about survival. His fleet was hopelessly outmatched by technology that shouldn't exist. The Council will not accept this situation. Then perhaps it's time for the Council to learn something new, Hanakim said. We've been monitoring your communications for 30 years. We know the Council hasn't faced a real technological challenge in over 1,000 years. Your civilization has become stagnant. She was right, and Velak knew it. The Council controlled the galaxy because they were advanced compared to primitive worlds, but they hadn't developed new technology in centuries. They relied on their superiority over species that were thousands of years behind them. Earth was different. Humanity had developed faster than light, travel independently. They had created weapons and defenses that were beyond Council understanding. Most importantly, they had done it all while pretending to be primitive. What do you want? Velak asked. Recognition, Admiral Kang said. A seat on the Galactic Council, treatment as equals rather than subjects. The Council has procedures, but the Council has procedures for conquering primitive worlds. Jinsu Park interrupted. What procedures do they have for dealing with a species that's more advanced than they are? Belak had no answer. In all of galactic history, the Council had never encountered a situation like this. Minjali Li was monitoring her quantum engines and making calculations. Admiral, I'm reading massive power signatures from the edge of the solar system. More ships are coming. The reinforcements weren't human. The Council was sending additional fleets to deal with what they still thought was a primitive uprising. How many ships? Admiral Kang asked. At least 500. They'll arrive within 6 hours. Thak checked his own sensors and confirmed the report. You cannot fight the entire Council Navy. Admiral Kang looked at his staff and smiled. Commander, you still don't understand. We're not planning to fight them, we're planning to convince them. How? Jinsu Park activated another control throughout the solar system. Thousands of hidden platforms revealed themselves. The space between Earth and Jupiter was filled with defensive installations that had been disguised as natural objects for decades. We're going to show the Council what humans can do when we put our minds to it, Admiral Kang said. The real demonstration was about to begin. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was the largest gathering in 500 years. Elder Zindar stood at the center of the crystal chamber, but his usual confidence was gone. Reports from Commander Velak had reached the Council 3 hours ago, and nobody could believe what they were hearing. You're telling us, said Council Member Drakkar, that a primitive species defeated the Third Fleet without firing a shot? They didn't defeat us, Elder Zindar said, trying to maintain some dignity. Commander Velak is negotiating a strategic withdrawal. The humans surrounded his entire fleet and demonstrated technology we don't possess, another Council member said. That sounds like defeat to me. The Council chamber filled with angry voices. For the first time in 1,000 years, a Galactic Council fleet had been stopped by the species they were trying to conquer. Worse, the humans had done it easily. Above Earth, Commander Velak was learning more disturbing facts about His enemies, the human ships, were not just advanced, they were using technology that violated everything the Council knew about physics. Sir, his science officer reported, I've analyzed their quantum engines. They're manipulating space-time itself. The mathematics shouldn't work, but somehow it does. Belflak looked at the readings. The human ships could appear anywhere instantly, phase between dimensions, and create gravitational fields strong enough to tear apart planets. It was technology that was centuries beyond anything the Council possessed on Earth. Hanakim was preparing for the most important conversation in human history. The Council had agreed to direct communication with Earth's representatives. For the first time, humans would speak directly to the galaxy's most powerful government. Are you ready? Admiral Kang asked her. Hana nodded. She had spent years studying alien languages and cultures. Now she would use that knowledge to save her planet. The communication channel opened, and Elder Zindar's image appeared on the screen. His tall gray form looked imposing, but Hana could see fear in his large black eyes. I am Elder Zindar of the Galactic Council, he began. You will explain how your species acquired advanced technology. Good afternoon, Elder Zindar. Hana replied politely. I am Dr. Hana Kim, representing Earth. We developed our technology the same way every species does, through research, experimentation, and a lot of hard work. Impossible. Our intelligence shows your species discovered space travel only decades ago. Hana smiled. Your intelligence is based on what we wanted you to see. We've been aware of galactic civilization for 30 years. We've been monitoring your communications, studying your technology, and learning about your government. The council chamber fell silent. The humans had been watching them for decades without being detected. How? Elder Zindar demanded. You sent probe ships to our solar system every few years, Hana explained. We captured several of them and reverse-engineered your technology, but we didn't stop there. We improved it. Minjali Lee stepped forward to join the conversation. Elder Zindar, I'm Dr. MJI Lee. I lead our quantum research division. Your probe ships used basic, faster-than-light drives. We studied them and developed something better. What you call quantum manipulation is impossible, Elder Zindar said. Only if you limit yourself to three-dimensional thinking, me replied. We learn to work in 11 dimensions. It opens up possibilities you've never considered. On the council ship, Commander Velak was receiving reports that made the situation even worse. His scanners were detecting thousands of hidden installations throughout Earth's solar system. The humans had been building defenses for decades while pretending to be primitive. How many defensive platforms? He asked his tactical officer. Over 3,000, sir. They're disguised as asteroids, comets, and space debris. The entire solar system is a fortress. Meanwhile, Jinsu Park was coordinating Earth's response to the incoming council reinforcements. 500 ships were approaching the solar system, expecting to face a primitive species with basic weapons. Minji, are the dimensional shields ready? He asked. All installations are equipped with phase generators. Me confirmed. We can shift the entire defensive network between dimensions if necessary. Admiral Kang was thinking about the bigger picture. Earth had surprised one council fleet, but defeating 500 ships would require a Different approach, Dr. Kim, he said too. Hana, tell the council about our exploration program. Hana turned back to the communication screen. Elder Zindar. We should mention that Earth has not been idle during these 30 years. We've been exploring the galaxy. What do you mean? We've visited 47 star systems. Using our quantum drives, we've made contact with 17 species that are not members of your council. Some of them are quite interested in alternatives to council membership. This was the information that truly frightened Elder Zindar. The council maintained control of the galaxy by being the only organization capable of interstellar travel and communication. If humans could travel instantly between star systems, they could offer the same services to other species. You're threatening council authority, Elder Zindar said. We're offering choice. Admiral Kang replied, the galaxy is big enough for more than one interstellar organization. In the council chamber, panic was beginning to spread. Council member Velkaran stood up to address Elder Zindar. This species represents a fundamental threat to council supremacy. They must be destroyed immediately. But Elder Zindar was looking at tactical reports from the approaching reinforcement fleet. The human defensive installations weren't just numerous. They were mobile. The asteroid belt was moving to form a defensive wall around Earth. How are they moving asteroids? He asked Commander Veluk. Gravitational manipulation, sir. They can control gravity itself. They're turning the entire solar system into a weapon. The approaching council reinforcements found themselves facing an impossible situation. The space around Earth was filled with defensive platforms that could appear and disappear at will. Asteroids the size of cities were moving into defensive positions. Most disturbing of all, human ships were simply appearing inside the council formations without warning. Fleet Admiral Corps commanding the reinforcements had never seen anything like it. And GT, how many ships do they have? And GT, unknown, sir. They keep appearing from nowhere. Our sensors show 50 ships, then 100, then 200. They're either teleporting or they have cloaking technology beyond our understanding. On Earth, Minjali Lee was demonstrating another capability to the council. She activated a quantum field around one of the approaching council ships and transported it instantly to Earth orbit. Your ship is unharmed, she told Fleet Admiral Corps over the communication channel. We brought it here to make a point. We can move your ships anywhere we want, anytime we want. Transported ship found itself surrounded by human vessels, completely cut off from its fleet. The crew was unharmed, but thoroughly frightened. Admiral Kang addressed both council commanders. Gentlemen, Earth doesn't want to fight the entire Galactic Council, but we won't be conquered either. We're offering a third option. What option? Elder Zindar asked. Partnership. Hanakim said, Earth has technologies you need: our quantum drives, our dimensional manipulation, our gravitational control systems. We're willing to share this technology with the Council in exchange for what? Membership, not as a subject world but as an equal partner, a seat on the Council with full voting rights. Jin Su Park added the final element of Earth's offer. We're also prepared to share our defensive technologies with other Council worlds. Your current enemies won't stand a chance against quantum weapons and dimensional shields. Elder Zindar realized that Earth was offering the Council a chance to become more powerful than ever before, but it would require treating humans as equals instead of subjects. The choice was simple: accept Earth as a partner or face the possibility of humans creating their own galactic government with superior technology. The Council will need time to consider your proposal. Elder Zindar said. Of course, Admiral. Kang replied, take all the time you need. Your fleets are welcome to remain here as our guests while you decide. It was a polite way of saying that the Council ships were not leaving until Earth received an acceptable answer. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted in a single day, and everyone knew it. 3 days after the first contact, the situation around Earth had become the most closely watched event in galactic history. News of the human technological demonstration had spread to every Council world, and representatives from dozens of species were demanding answers. In the Galactic Council chamber, Elder Zindar faced the largest crisis of his 800-year career. Half the Council wanted to destroy Earth before human technology could spread to other worlds. The other half wanted to negotiate for access to human innovations. The humans are a threat to everything we've built, Council member Velkaran argued. If other species gain access to their technology, the Council's authority will collapse. If we don't gain access to their technology, replied Council member Drar, the Council will become irrelevant anyway. These humans can travel anywhere instantly and communicate across the galaxy without delay. They're already offering alternatives to Council membership. Elder Zindar looked at the reports coming from Earth's solar system. Human defenses had grown stronger every day. More installations were appearing, and human ships were now patrolling other star systems, making contact with non-Council species above Earth. Admiral Kang was preparing for the next phase of humanity's introduction to galactic politics. A special ship had been constructed specifically for this moment, a vessel that would demonstrate Earth's most advanced technologies to the Council. The Taguchi is ready for departure, Jinsu Park reported. All systems are functioning perfectly. The Taguchi was humanity's masterpiece. It incorporated every breakthrough they had achieved over 30 years of secret research, quantum drives, dimensional manipulation, gravitational control, and several technologies that were still experimental. Dr. Lee, are you ready to take our demonstration to the Council? Admiral Kang asked. Minjali Lee nodded from her position at the ship's quantum control station. The dimensional phase drive is calibrated for the journey to the Council chambers. We can reach them in less than an hour. Hanakim was also aboard the Taguchi, prepared to serve as Earth's primary diplomat. She had spent 3 days studying additional Council communications and learning about the political situation in galactic government. Admiral, she said, I've identified several Council members who might support our proposal. The key is demonstrating that partnership with Earth benefits everyone, not just humans. The Chuki departed Earth using technology that amazed even the watching Council fleets. The ship didn't accelerate gradually like normal spacecraft. Instead, it simply folded space around itself and stepped sideways through 11 dimensions, emerging near the Council chambers 400 light-years away. The journey that should have taken months in a Council ship was completed In 37 minutes, when the Chuki appeared, near the council chambers, every sensor in the area detected its arrival. The ship was unlike anything in the council database. Its hull seemed to shift between solid metal and transparent energy, and it registered on sensors in ways that suggested it existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Council Station Control, this is the Earthship Tuki requesting permission to dock. Hanakim transmitted in perfect galactic standard. The Council Stations docking master was speechless. No ship had ever approached the Council chambers without permission, and none had ever arrived from such a distance so quickly. Elder Zindar himself authorized the docking. He needed to see this human technology up close. When the airlock opened, Admiral Kang stepped out first, followed by Hana Kim, Jinsu Park, and MJI Lee. They were the first humans to set foot on a galactic council station, and they carried themselves with the confidence of equals rather than the difference of subjects. Elder Zindar, Admiral Kang said, bowing slightly in the traditional council greeting. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Elder. Zindar studied the humans carefully. They looked fragile compared to most galactic species, but their technology suggested they were anything but weak. Your ship, he said, it uses principles we don't understand. Miles stepped forward. Elder, your species has controlled the galaxy for 1,000 years using the same basic technologies. You haven't needed to innovate because you haven't faced real challenges. Earth developed differently. How differently? We've always faced challenges, Jinsu Park explained. Limited resources, hostile environments, constant conflicts. These pressures forced us to find creative solutions to impossible problems. Hankim activated a portable display that showed human technological development over the past century. Elder Zindar, in 100 years humans went from horse-drawn carts to quantum space manipulation. Most species take thousands of years to achieve similar advances. Why? Because we had to. Admiral Kang said simply, human civilization developed on a world where survival required constant innovation. We learned to adapt quickly or die. Elder Zindar was beginning to understand. The council controlled species that had developed on easy worlds with abundant resources. They had never faced the pressures that forced rapid technological advancement. What are you proposing? Minjali activated another control, and the Taguchi became visible through the station's viewing ports. The ship began to demonstrate its capabilities, shifting between dimensions, manipulating local gravity, and creating small wormholes in space. We're proposing that Earth join the Council as a full member, Hankim said. In exchange, we'll share our technologies and help solve problems that have stumped the Council for centuries, such as Jin's Park smiled. Zirian rebellion in the Outer Rim. They've been fighting Council forces for 50 years because your ships can't reach their hidden bases. Our quantum drives could end that conflict in days. The plague affecting the Altarian colonies. Minjali added, your medical technology can't cure it because it exists partially in another dimension. Our dimensional manipulation could isolate and destroy the disease. The resource shortages in the Vega sector. Admiral Kang continued, your transport ships take months to deliver supplies. Our quantum drives could deliver resources instantly. Elder Zindar realized that the humans weren't just offering to share technology, they were offering to Solve every major problem the Council faced, and in return, we want the galaxy to know that there are alternatives to conquest, Hankem said. The Council has maintained power by being the only option for space travel and communication. We're offering choice. You're threatening our authority. We're offering to enhance it. Admiral Kang corrected. A council equipped with human technology would be more powerful than ever, but it would also be more just. Mealy demonstrated another capability. She activated a quantum field that allowed her to communicate instantly with Earth, 400 light years away. The conversation was in real time with no delay. Elder Zindar, I'm speaking with Dr. Park on Earth right now. She's reporting that 17 non-council species have requested meetings with human representatives. They want to learn about alternatives to council membership. The threat was clear. Earth could create its own galactic organization if the council refused to negotiate. What guarantee do we have that humans won't eventually challenge council authority because we don't want to rule the galaxy? Admiral Kang said, we want to improve it. Human culture values cooperation over domination. We're offering partnership, not conquest. Jinsu Park added the final element of Earth's proposal. Elder Zindar, we know about the external threats the Council faces, the machine intelligences beyond the galactic rim, the hostile dimensions that sometimes break through into normal space, the ancient weapons platforms that activate randomly. Our technology could help the Council deal with these challenges. Elder Zindar had not expected the humans to know about the Council's deepest secrets. The external threats were classified information known only to the highest levels of government. How do you know about those threats? We've encountered some of them ourselves. Hanakim said, Earth isn't the only world humans have visited. We've been exploring dangerous regions of space that Council ships avoid, and we've learned how to fight things that exist outside normal reality. Miles said, our dimensional technology works against enemies that phase between universes. For the first time in the conversation, Elder Zindar looked hopeful. The Council had struggled with external threats for centuries, always forced to retreat or evacuate worlds when faced with truly alien dangers. You can fight the phase entities. We can do more than fight them. Admiral Kang said, we can prevent them from entering our dimension in the first place. Elder Zindar realized that Earth wasn't just offering to join the Council, they were offering to save it from threats that had seemed impossible to defeat. The decision was becoming clear, but it would require the Council to accept something they had never accepted before, an equal partner instead of a subject species. I will present your proposal to the full Council. Elder Zindar said, thank you. Hanukkah replied, we hope this is the beginning of a new era for galactic civilization. The vote would determine not just Earth's fate, but the future of the entire galaxy.